You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Together we are
Rope.
And family, how's every single one of you? Welcome to NXT UK review, a show that always has positive things out of any other show that we cover. Actually, this is one of the best ones. The booking makes sense. How they portray the wrestlers makes sense. Every rivalry is actually portrayed in a decent manner. So we're going to be talking about this show because this one was we wanted the title, we wanted maybe a heel turn, but Paul is saying maybe they're saving it for a bigger event, for a bigger, more important scenario. So we'll see what happens. But Paul, pretty, I would say average NXT UK episode.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm judging it based off what we've seen just overall and recently from, this brand here, I would say this is probably one of the weaker shows that they've really done. I mean, a great main event match. I really enjoyed it. And I mean, the opening match we're going to get into is great too. I just don't like some of the winners here and just some of the in-between segments, the promo. The Nina Samuels thing needs to absolutely go. That is just, I mean, it's cringy. It's just like a Miz TV, all that kind of garbage stuff. The only one of those who should be having this show is Noam Dar. Supernova Sessions is good, because he's charismatic, but we're not talking about him because he wasn't on the show, unfortunately. So, let's get into it.
Exactly, family. Before we just do that, thank you so very much for being with us, for the love support. Don't forget to watch the AEW Dynamite, the go-home show for it's going to be AEW Full Gear. Kenny Omega had to sign, the contract for the match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship with Hangman Page's blood.
Look at Don Callis.
Yeah, it was a pretty, at least the closing segment for me.
He looks like the Joker. He looks like the Joker with that face.
Oh yeah. Don Callis is annoying and everything, but that's his job. That's what he has to do. That's part of what he's doing, and that's how he gets Kenny Omega kind of heat, not like a heel heat. So it's fine. But outside of that, we got to see more matches added to the show. Guys that didn't have a feud. Oh yeah, we're just gonna recycle you. When it's going to put together in a match in a tag, it doesn't make sense. But aside of that, I think a pretty good show. And Paul, is gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen at Full Gear. That's on Saturday. We're gonna be live talking about every single thing that happens. So be with us. But like you said, this show started out with Nathan Frazier because he actually challenged for a match. He actually wanted to have a match with a guy that he's never fought before, but he admired, he respected, and that was also Mark Andrews. So the match was pretty good. A lot of good moments, good sequences. Two guys are built very alike. So that was really cool. In the end, like you said, we were hoping for Nathan Frazier because he's lost a lot of matches, but now in the end we got to see a swerve here.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this match. It was super competitive. These guys, it was nobody really dominated. They were so even, and it was just counter for counter, hold for hold. These guys were great. I'm not going to go through it move for move because there was just so much to take in. This was a match. If you don't care about the winner, you just want to see a really good, athletic, even, contest, which technical and high flying all in one. Go check this match out. I have no problem with it really for any of the stuff that happened bell to bell. Besides the last couple seconds, I just don't if you're gonna pin a guy, hit your move, pin him, 1, 2, 3, shoulders down. The roll-ups, are they doing a feud here? But I don't want to see a feud between baby faces, let the best man win, because that shit is boring. That is it's I'd rather watch paint dry than two baby faces see who's the better wrestler. No, I don't care. You got to give me heat. You got to give me something spice. Otherwise, it's boring. But
you got to give me a reason for why they fight.
This was good. We're friends. And even after the match, you see Mark Andrews. Obviously he celebrates. He's happy. But then he's like, "Oh, Frazier's legit," and Frazier's standing there like the freaking prick at a wedding, I don't know.
I agree. So Mark Andrews gets the win. That was 1-0.
And the only problem, if people, because I really didn't give the reason why, and you're gonna agree with me, it's why are you mad that Frazier didn't win? You touched on it a little bit. You said, because he's been losing. And so has, Subculture. And it's hey, who's the guy who Subculture, they're oh, yeah, the kids like them, blah, blah, blah. But Frazier, he was trained by Seth Rollins. Oh, this, oh, that. They brag Frazier up so much, and then he loses. And then it's so. That's why I think Frazier needed the win more than Mark Andrews, so that's why I have the issue with this.
Yeah, no, it was different because we also, Nathan Frazier is the guy that they've been trying to push. He's had a lot of good matches with a lot of top tier talent. Yeah. And now to see that a guy that and we're not saying Mark Andrews is bad, but it's in a single division. It's different than the tag team. So unfortunately, he gets the win. We're not really happy with it. Let's go with Dani Luna, because Dani Luna was also going to have a match, and she's going to go against like Stevie Turner. So what did you think? I mean, I think the match was pretty decent. I like Stevie Turner. She has more though to offer because she's a heel. She has more of a character. I really enjoy that. But in the end, Dani Luna surprises her one more time, and she gets the win.
Yeah, I mean, I figured she would get the win because she's the one who is at least has been getting wins from Subculture. You see Flash Morgan Webster, he just slaps people and then gets his ass kicked. And, until besides today, Mark Andrews, he wasn't really getting wins, but Luna was. I mean, I like Stevie Turner's character and everything, and just like, because it's a little bit unique, but she's also still a good wrestler in the ring. So, I mean, I kind of feel bad for her, but like we say, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. But maybe we see Dani Luna versus Meiko Satomura, or maybe we see her versus, I don't know. Even Blair Davenport would be good. Maybe Dani Luna is going to put Blair Davenport over, get her over. But you got to do something with these women. They just have these matches. Because, I mean, it was all right. But were you into it? Were you like, oh, I didn't really care too much? Because it's like, what's the point of this? Where is this leading?
It's a little different. It's like you kind of like see it just for more like to see what's going to happen after that. Like you said, Dani Luna might be, and they even touch upon that because she said, okay, maybe a second win, so maybe she could be a potential opponent for Meiko Satomura. They did say that. So, like, they tell you, like, this could be the one thing that, like, is going to catapult Dani Luna to that main event status, which, she has the talent. Maybe Amel could be another one. We're going to see him at some point, Saya Brookside. So we got like also girls we haven't seen. Also Eva Valkyrie in such a long time. After like it seems like she was the guy. She wins the match and she got more injured than Ginny. So there you go. That's something I'd like to touch upon. But after the match, like they were celebrating with the members of South Culture. They were gonna have a beautiful three-time. No. I don't know what they're gonna do, but anyway. So like you see Blair Davenport, and there you go. This is gonna be the next feud then. Pretty much that's what's going to be the next step for them. So I'm looking forward for this because, see, this is like, for me, number one contender right here. And this is going to catapult Blair Davenport and Dani Luna at the same time.
And I'm not saying everybody needs to be in a group or something. And I know they just formed Subculture, but I always say I like Morgan Webster and Andrews when it was just the two of them. They were that underdog babyface tag team. Everybody loved them. I feel like you almost have something here. If Blair Davenport could steal away Dani Luna to be like her flunky, because when you have that picture of them, don't they kind of look like that could be like a team or something?
Oh yeah, because they have like their hairs are dyed and
I mean like the similar style. Yeah, and they're both like no nonsense, tough, badass chicks. So it's like, I could see them being a group or something. Maybe she steals her away, but it'll probably just be a match. But I am looking forward to it. And another thing, it's crazy for me to say like one of the best. Well, Sam Gradwell, he's always great, but the A-Kid segment was probably one of the best things they had on here.
Yeah.
I like when he comes in and then, A-Kid's like, oh, I heard you talking shit. If you want to, talk, speak my language. He's like, what, Spanish? He's like, I don't know that shit. He's like, no, fighting. And he's like, oh, well, I know if fighting is your yogurt. I mean, Gradwell's so good, but A-Kid was even good here because he had a little bit of intensity and I knew what he was setting it up. I knew when he said my language, I knew he was going to say fighting or like in the ring or something. So it was perfect.
What, Spanish?
And, I mean, this was good. So, and I liked it. And like we said, this is what you should have been doing with Frazier. He lost the number one contender match. Oh, so what do I do? You got to give him a feud to give him a win so he keeps him hot, not losing to Mark Andrews. And now now it's something.
It's like, okay, you didn't win the big one, but at least you're starting down the same level at some point.
Because A-Kid is going to beat Gradwell. They're keeping A-Kid hot. They're not going to let him completely cool off because, he's one of their stars here. So, this is the right thing to do. Like I said, him, Gradwell, I think it's going to be good.
Exactly. So also we're going to see next week, we got to see a promo first by Gallus, Lola Coffey, Wolfgang, all of them, just talking about these differences that they have with the family, with Theo Man and Raja, and how important it is for them, especially for Coffey. He has a lot of business, unfinished business, because he a lot of people are saying that he should be the NXT UK champion, that he cannot win the big one and all of that. But we're going to see next week, there you go, Theo Man and Raja going against Gallus. So this is going to be a good match, but I'm hoping here Theo Man and Raja get the win.
Yeah,
I think they need more than Gallus do.
I think they need to, or you really got to tell the story where if they lose here, something happens where Dempsey needs to join them. then at this point. Like, you need to do something to further their story, not that they just lose and then, okay, next segment. You know, you need to do something to really, progress these guys. I think they'll beat Gallus. I think, Coffee's has some kind of, play in this, because he was mentioned. He's like, oh, well, what about Joe Coffee? Tio Man's like, don't worry about him, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, this is interesting. This is a good, mid-card feud here that I really do want to see more of. I was actually hoping we would have saw, some of this on this show, but now they got me watching next week. Even though I was going to already.
Because at least it's going to be a good match. You're absolutely right. Like I said, the Dina Samuels promo, nobody wants to really see that. This is actually a detriment for what it is, like the show. Because the Nina Samuels needs also like credible opponents. If she wants to be a heel, she needs to start winning matches. Needs to go over like maybe lower tier talent, or lower, in the totem, like this girl Leah James. So she needs to beat her and right away, so like she starts like positioning herself better. But we'll see. That was just what we have. So now let's go, Paul. Like we said, we already went from last week. What's going to happen? So now let's go with like the main event, and this was like the Fatal 4-Way #1 contender for the Tag Team Championship match. And we had like great teams right here. We had Moustache Mountain. We had also like, of course, Stars and Dave Mastiff. We had Symbiosis. We had like all these guys, but Paul, we said this could have been the way to like really split up Moustache Mountain. We have also Carter, and but I don't know, like if I'm really happy with the result, because I feel that like you're using this opportunity also to just break them up, and it should have been like that. Maybe other teams can have an opportunity. Maybe it should have been the time for the Jack Stars and Dave Mastiffs with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking at first, and then when they added Moustache Mountain here, I'm like, there's a lot of possibilities they could do, because it's like, oh, now these guys, I was thinking everybody was going to be gunning for Moustache Mountain, because like they were all pissed, like, oh, why do you just insert yourself in here? This is bullshit. But it seemed to pretty even go. It was everybody versus everybody. You saw Eddie Dennis got thrown out. But really I was like, oh, so Symbiosis is going to be, they're going to look like shit and be jobbed out and whatever. But, no, actually, I thought they looked pretty good in this match overall. Jack Stars and Mastiff, they were my pick to win it, like I said beforehand. But when you put in the team of Moustache Mountain, and the breakup is coming, it's like, it's so close, like you can feel it. It's like The Rock, you just close your eyes and you just sniff the air, like you can just smell it. You know what I mean? It's coming, and I think if you're going to do it, a title match is probably the better place to do it, because that rubs the most dirt and embarrassment in somebody's face.
Yes. Yeah.
Because like if you just do it here, it's like, it was a Fatal 4-Way match. There was so many other variables. You can't really blame your partner. But if it's a, one team versus one team match, the only person you have to blame is either yourself or your partner. So, that's, I think, the better time to do it. But I enjoyed this match. It was really good. Smith and Carter, they're no slouches either. They look good. I was even thinking, if you're gonna do, I wouldn't mind to see them win it. If you weren't telling if you weren't telling this whole, unfortunately, that I would love to see any of those other three teams win it. That's why this match was so appealing, because any of those three teams, it would have been cool. But, apparently they think the story of Moustache Mountain breaking up, one of them turning heel, trumps all those other teams. And, speaking of the champs here, the one thing that almost killed the show for me earlier on when I saw my boy Frazier lose, I'm like, okay, then we see Magic Mike and Pretty Deadly. So I'm like, come on, is this Monday Night Raw or what is this bullshit? But,
yes.
They redeemed themselves. They come out here, they have the stare down. We're going to see Moustache Mountain Pretty Deadly too.
No action, no going at each other. They already had a match before, remember?
Yeah, so this will be the second one. Yep.
So either like you said, they have to lose again, or finally for like Trent Seven or Tyler Bate.
I'm still. That's why I'm still like, I'm not freaking out. I'm not like, oh, bullshit booking. If they win the belts, then that's because I don't want to see a title run and then the split happens at the end. I do not want to see that. It needs to happen now. Yeah, you need to get new teams. Like we said, any of these three teams, that were in the match besides Moustache Mountain, they're the ones that need to be featured as well. So
Moustache Mountain, like you said, like right now they need to split up, and the feud needs to be the main story that you're telling me on NXT UK, and then it should be like the title with Ilya Dragunov, and then that should be. Tyler Bate and Trent Seven going against each other.
And speaking of Ilya, they did show another Ilya Rampage Brown, just recap, the same stuff that, kind of happened before last week, everything. So, nothing real new there. But I mean, overall, this was a decent episode of NXT UK. If you're comparing it to regular NXT or Raw or SmackDown, I mean, this show is amazing. But, if you're comparing it just to other episodes of NXT UK, for me personally, not the best when it comes to maybe like winners and outcomes and stuff like that. But still overall,
pretty decent.
Show,
yes, exactly. Yeah. So family, thank you so very much for being with us. We appreciate you, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, give the video a like so more people can see it. The more likes, more exposure, more people around the world can see the original Road Break. Don't forget, tomorrow is going to be SmackDown time, like this, quick and also summarized for you guys, so you don't have to like waste 2 hours of your day. We wasted, for you guys. So just give us a subscription. So, please, and don't forget one more time, AEW Full Gear, jump on myself Saturday, 1 a.m. Actually, Sunday, 1 a.m. because thanks to AEW, right? That's going to be. So, like, Paul, remind everybody where they can find us.
And then, guys, so you don't miss any of, the crazy updates that Juan just ran through, you can follow us on all the social media, and that is Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and we're also on Spotify now, folks. Check us up. And then follow us here, though, on our main home, which is the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break, right here on YouTube.
Exactly. And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...